This closing lesson of the module steps back from Azure Virtual Desktop specifically. Everything we covered in the last 3 lessons was an implementation of Zero Trust, verify explicitly, use least privilege access, assume breach, applied across 6 pillars. In this lesson we map those same pillars onto Citrix DaaS and Omnissa Horizon, so you leave with a checklist that works on any VDI platform, not just the one you happen to run. Everything in the last 3 lessons, join types, role-based access control, conditional access app targeting, Intune enrollment, was AVD-specific mechanics. But underneath, each one was serving one of the 6 Zero Trust pillars this site uses throughout its security content. Azure Virtual Desktop is one implementation of that model, not the model itself. If you only know the AVD product names, you can't evaluate a Citrix or Horizon estate at all. If you know the pillars, you can evaluate any of them. Here's the mapping across platforms. On identity, conditional access, Citrix Cloud Federation, and a Horizon identity broker all serve the same function. On endpoint, Intune and Defender for Endpoint have direct equivalents in Citrix and Workspace ONE tooling. On the Apps and Session pillar, AVD's screen capture protection lines up with Citrix App Protection and Horizon Session Controls. And on network, Private Link and Azure Firewall line up with Citrix Cloud Connectors and Omnissa's Unified Access Gateway. Citrix's answer to unauthorized data extraction from an authorized session is app protection in the Citrix Workspace app. Anti-screen capture blocks screenshots, recording, mirroring, and app switching. Anti-keylogging scrambles keystrokes at the kernel level before any logging tool can read them. And contextual app protection lets you scope these policies by user, device, or network posture, the same way you'd scope conditional access policies with groups and device filters on Azure Virtual Desktop. On identity, Citrix Cloud is the control plane for DaaS, but it federates outward to Microsoft Entra ID or another identity provider. That means multi-factor authentication and conditional access enforcement for a Citrix estate is frequently still an Entra ID policy underneath, just fronted by Citrix Cloud instead of the Azure Virtual Desktop service directly. When you're assessing an estate you don't own, that's a useful instinct. The Zero Trust control you're looking for might already exist, just not where you first looked. Horizon's architecture puts more weight on a single edge component, the Unified Access Gateway. Its TLS configuration and Cipher suite selection can be updated after deployment through the Admin Console or REST API, and it's the equivalent hardening surface to what Azure Virtual Desktop achieves through conditional access plus optional private link. A Horizon estate with a beautifully hardened gateway but a weak identity broker configuration is exactly the imbalance the pillar model is built to catch. Session recording is a good test of the assume breach principle, because the 3 platforms implement it differently and none of them is wrong. Citrix ships a dedicated session recording component for ICA sessions. Horizon relies on helpdesk tooling and gateway logging, often paired with third-party recording. Azure Virtual Desktop has no single built-in recording feature at all, and instead achieves the same visibility through Defender for Endpoint, Azure Virtual Desktop Insights, and log analytics queries. Assume breach is about the outcome, being able to detect and reconstruct what happened, not about matching one competitor's specific feature. Whatever platform lands on your desk, walk the same 6 questions instead of hunting for Azure-specific settings that won't exist elsewhere. Is every sign-in verified against an actually enforced conditional policy? Are the session hosts enrolled in device management and endpoint detection and response, and kept patched? Is there a scoped anti-capture or anti-keylogging control on sessions handling sensitive data? And are data access, the network edge, and the golden image all under active, least privilege management? This module started with a single identity decision in Lesson 1 and ends with a checklist that works on a platform this course has never even named. That's the actual skill AZ-140 domain 2, and the broader end-user computing engineer role is testing for, not memorizing where a button lives, but knowing which Zero Trust pillar a problem belongs to and finding that pillars control on whatever platform you're handed. Module 5 picks the thread back up on the user environment side, going deep on FS logics, app delivery, and Teams optimization, building on the identity and profile foundation this module set.